In this video, we are going to be talking about MySQL, which is a database management system. And basically, it is a relational database management system where information is stored in the form of related tables. So if you recall from ICT475, there was at the very end of that class, you worked with Access, which is a form of database. And MySQL happens to be a more robust version of a database and probably one of the most commonly used databases in the world. It is also open source, just like the PHP that you've been learning, and it often coincides with PHP. And if you remember back to one of our earlier videos I think that was the introduction to PHP, we talked about the web stack, and that was LAMP, MAMP, WAMP, and XAMPP. And anyway, so this is the M part, which is MySQL. And so these databases are usually set up and designed for web applications, and they're accessed using PHP. So this is when we're finally going to get to some of the fun stuff that you can do with PHP. Up until now, you've been hard coding variables, and then most recently we got into forms, where at least the forms we could input some data to truly make it variable. But as we work with MySQL, you are now going to be able to add, change, and remove data from a database to make your websites dynamic, which is the cool part. Your textbook in Chapter 4 has a tremendous amount of information that you are going to find very helpful, very resourceful. There is some, I guess you can call them cheat sheets, that they cover the different data types, and we're going to go over them briefly in the second video that we go over. In this video, we're actually just going to go through how to set up and access your MySQL database. I've already gone in and created databases on our GoDaddy server for each and every one of you. And so if you don't get an email from me, please let me know. But in that email, you're going to receive all of the information that you need to log in, which is going to include the database name, your database username, and database password. These are all different than the username and passwords that you use for FTP, because this exclusively accesses the database. In order to do that, we have to set up a particular piece of software called MySQL Workbench, which is what we're going to do next. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is go out to the MySQL.com website. So it'll be MySQL.com/products/Workbench. There is a link for this on D2L, so don't worry if you don't remember what this is, but this should take you to a page that looks like the one that you're seeing right now, and you'll see that there is a Download Now button. The really cool thing about using this is it works with Windows, Linux, and Mac. So regardless of the operating system that you're using, you can go ahead and download this and install it, and it'll work. So I'm not going to walk you through the download. That part's pretty straightforward. Click the download button and then unpack the file that it gives you and install. So it's pretty straightforward. So once you have it installed, go ahead and open it up. When you open up MySQL Workbench, it's going to look something like this. There's probably going to be some variation between the Windows and the Mac version, but they're going to be pretty similar. And so what we need to do is actually set up to access our database. And in order to do that, now that we have the software, one of the other things that we need to do is make sure that we are connected via VPN, which is a virtual private network, to the University of Wisconsin Stout. I already have it installed. On a Mac, you can tell there's this little icon, and you can connect and disconnect to the VPN. It's easy enough to do, but if you're not familiar with how to do that, you'll have to go out to the knowledge base. And this is the page out on the knowledge base. Again, there's going to be a link out on our Learn at UW Stout site so that you can get to this. There is a Connect to VPN for Mac and a Connect to VPN for Windows. My suspicion is many of you already have this set up, but if you don't, I want to make you aware of it and make sure that you do get it set up. And the reason that we are using this VPN is because on our GoDaddy web hosting, we can set up certain IP or IP ranges that we give permission to access our databases remotely. This is what we are going to be doing. Basically, I've gone into GoDaddy's website and set up the UW Stout IP range to be accepted, because otherwise it would be having to set up each and every one of our individual IP ranges or IP numbers, and depending on if you're at work, at school, at an apartment, wherever you are, that's just ridiculous. So what we're going to do is log in via the VPN. So again, I have already connected. I am going to go back to the MySQL Workbench, and we're going to set up it's not even really our account, it's going to set up our ability to access it. So we're just going to click that little plus symbol. You should get a window that looks something like this. Our connection method is going to be standard TCP/IP. We need to give it a name, and this can be anything so that you know what it is. So I just called mine Chris GoDaddy Database. Then in the host name, you are going to be putting in the information that I provided to you via email. So the first thing we need to do is put in this host name. Our host name in this case it's an IP address. And so you will have, like I say, it's going to be the same for all of us. So it's 107.180.41.49. That will be in the email that you receive. The port number is 3306. That's the same for everybody, and that is usually the default that is there. Then the other part is you need to put in, this is your database username that I emailed to you. So in my case, it's just simply Isaacson. And then you have the option here to store your password in the keychain. So I'm just going to paste mine in. I'm going to click OK. So it's there, but this is really all there is to set it up. And so if we want to test and make sure that it's working, click the test connection, and it'll tell you successfully made the MySQL connection and that this is all the information that you put in, and we'll click OK. If you like it, then go ahead and click OK, and it will set this up. So now in the future, you don't have to go through and set this up. You just need to click on this little icon. So I'm going to go and do that now. This sometimes takes just a couple minutes to get in here. The second video is going to be talking about how to set up your tables and get familiar with the actual interface in here. But I just wanted you to go ahead and open it up and take a look so you can start to familiarize yourself. If for some reason you get a failure or an unsuccessful when you are trying to connect here, make sure that all of the information that you input is correct. So double check the email that I sent you. If it's still not connecting, double check, make sure that your VPN connection is working. And if it's still not connecting, please feel free to contact me and we'll see if we can troubleshoot and get this taken care of. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks.